Welcome to Passion of the Soul with me, Ellena Lieberman, the new power hour for your consciousness. This is the space where you awaken to your authentic potential, the truth of who you really are. Here, we open the mind and heart and tune into the essence of the soul, the force that fuels your entire being and invites miracles into your life. Each episode inspires you to respond to the layers of potential within you and bring your unique legacy into the world. As you listen and watch, you'll discover that you can be the answer to your own quest. Get ready to tune into your innermost voice and live in alignment with your highest truth. Passion of the Soul starts now. Hello, everyone. I'm Ellena Lieberman, your host, and you are listening to Passion of the Soul on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us this hour and let us help you experience the new power hour of your consciousness every first and third Thursday of the month, 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. We will have some of the most brilliant artists, visionaries, healers, and authors all here to inspire you. Tonight, we will be doing an episode on what is my real strength. Wendy Sue Wahl reveals her miraculous journey from a trauma-infused childhood to a gifted healer and teacher. Dearly held defense mechanisms have emerged as exquisite gifts to allow life in its fullest. Her real strength comes from a spark inside of her that never let her give up. Wendy Sue is a certified Akashic record teacher and consultant for over 20 years. She is also an Usui and Karuna Reiki teacher and master. She's a podcast guest and originated the Soul Verse presentation. She's a continual seeker of her truth and desires a sense of centered wonder and freedom in life. Hello, Wendy Sue.
Hi, Ellena. I'm so happy to be here. I'm pleased to be included in the titles of what you put up there, the visionaries, and thank you for having me.
Well, we're thrilled that you could join us. Now, Wendy Sue, we look at you today. And you are so gifted, and you bring great healing for every session that you do. And you're acclaimed to touch the heartfelt truth of participants in your classes. Everyone raves about you. You have a devoted following wherever you go. But what was your actual journey, and how did it transform you into who you are today?
Ooh, that's a big question. And so I started out young. My mom was 15 and my dad was 17. And there were 4 kids within about 5 years. And sexual trauma started very early. I was kidnapped at 5 years old. And the process of being hypervigilant and the process of trying to stay out of the way and the process of trying to figure it all out. Where was the next meal coming from? What was going to happen next? How to stay away from the violence or the predators became very ingrained in me, to the point where I almost couldn't even recognize Well, it was just defense after defense after defense after defense after defense, right? In fact, in my 20s, I was a cocaine addict and was very promiscuous, because it was easier for me to give my body than it was for me to give my heart.
Oh,
And so the egoic reactions to having so much trauma in my life ended, or my journey actually started towards healing when I was 30 and had to go to the grand jury for someone that was embezzling to buy drugs.
oh,
And as I'm sitting there at the grand jury after losing my boyfriend, who I'd had for 12 years, and my home, and my job because of all of that, and then I'm sitting at the grand jury, I just was like, that is not me. That, like, the divine spark inside me said, whoever this is that's living this life, it's not you. And so in listening to that, somehow I started a new walk. Hasn't
wow.
been easy, but I think that's where my students, there isn't anything that my students can tell me or that my clients can tell me that shocks me because
Wow.
I've been
Yeah,
I've been in
yeah,
all kinds of arenas of human being.
yes, yes. Well, Wendy Sue, let me ask you a question about this. When you talk about the moment that you realized this isn't me, what was that moment? What did that feel like to you on the inside? How did that spark ignite in you? And when you said, this isn't really me, what was talking to you? What is that inside of you?
You know, Ellena, I got up out of that chair and out of the grand jury chair, and it literally felt like one of those old movies where they're blowing smoke in your face and you've got the lights on you. It wasn't really like that, but the having to take the Fifth Amendment over and over and over and over and over again for like an hour of an interrogation.
Wow.
It, when I was taught that lying is wrong my whole life, it just felt like the biggest switch ever to be sitting there trying to protect myself, knowing that I had information that was gonna, well, hurt somebody else, right? So,
Yes.
and hurt me. So when I walked out of there and I opened up the doors and it was a sunny day in Seattle, which is shocking. But when that sun hit my face and that air hit my lungs, something burst inside of my belly. It was like this big spark of light that
Wow.
traveled through me, and with such clarity that I don't know that I'd ever had in my life. That was the statement. This is not me. And I
Wow.
heard it reverberate through all of me. And then I was able to start walking differently.
Yes.
With help, of course. It was the first time I got psychotherapy, so that started my walk. And I'm not sure my walk is done yet.
No. But Wendy Sue, how did you um, cultivate the gifts you have today? What led you to the gifted place from this very challenging place? How did you cultivate your gifts?
I would say that I was very, very blessed. I had teachers in high school that saw something in me. I did have good friends growing up that, while they didn't know anything that was happening at home, they still loved me. And so I had a place to go. But I also had, so I would have somebody come to me and see me. I don't know if you've ever had somebody just like look you in the eye and you feel that they're seeing you deeper
Yes.
than you can see yourself. There's some ray of hope that they're offering you. And when that was happening, not consistently, but like in the right divine timing, when I absolutely needed somebody, it kept pulling me forward and giving me hope. And then when I started counseling at 30, and then I joined a church, and then I was baptized, and then I moved to South Carolina and I met my Akashic Record friends, and my Reiki master teacher, Rosemary Swanson, and Marcia, and you. There's a whole place, Ellena, where life opened for me to say, Wendy, you don't need the defense mechanisms the same way.
Wow.
But it did, I will tell you this, it took me a long time to really lay them down because they were so precious to me.
Yes, yes, that was interesting wording that you used, like precious defense mechanisms. But let me ask you one more question here. How did you realize that you would never give up? That moment you said, I'll never give up. There's something in me that keeps me from doing that. What is that? What is that realization?
On the outside, at my egoic, this is how I feel like to answer this. On the outside, the treatment wasn't good. The care wasn't good.
Yes.
And I believed that as an egoic facade. But inside, some of the things that happened to me, Ellena, if I didn't die, there had to be a God. There had to be a divine source. There had to be something that saw value in me and my existence.
Wow.
And part of the defense mechanism used to be like, because God kept me alive through these situations, then I have to give, I have to be of service, I have to control, I have to do all of these things. And then eventually was able to relax into a place where it's like, I have value. Even if I'm sitting on the couch doing nothing, because God doesn't make junk. I have value. I'm using the word God, and I hope that that's okay.
Absolutely.
For our listeners. But that divine source that I can dream with, or that I can hold, or I can look at that flower over there, or I can see a bee going by and recognize beauty and order in the cycle of things, helped me to know that I belong here too.
Oh, that's what's so wonderful, Wendy Sue. I'm really thrilled that you're sharing that with our listeners tonight. But we're going to go on a little break right now. And before I do, I want everybody to get your information, Wendy Sue. Would you please give it?
Yes. You can reach me. You can look at my website, which is within-view. So WITHIN-VIEW.com. My email is withinview@gmail.com. And then my phone number is 859-619-0971.
Thank you so much, Wendy Sue. And I'm Ellena Lieberman. For requests for my consultations, go to www.dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. And for new listeners, I have $50 off the first hour of the consultation. You are listening to Passion of the Soul with Ellena Lieberman. And when we come back, we're going to discuss further what is my real strength. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Ellena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the Soul, where your truth comes alive.
If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or in grief, I'm here to help. I'm Faye Lau, intuitive healer and founder of Faye Inspired Healing. Through soul-guided sessions, I help you reconnect with your body's wisdom and inner truth. Whether you're healing from loss, letting go of pain, or rising into elevated energies, my work combines energy clearing, grief support, and spiritual coaching. Schedule a session or learn more at fayeinspiredhealing.com.
There is more to life than simply surviving or even thriving. There's flourishing. High performance and quantum success coach Beth Larson helps you calibrate and elevate your life. Beth specializes in working with women who want more from their life, more energy, joy, passion, connection, and more meaning. As your coach, she will help you get clear about your life, prioritize what's important, and become a master of your energy. Visit BethLarsonCoaching.com.
You ever feel it? that whisper just beneath the surface, a deeper part of you ready to rise? At Aligned Energy, we don't just inspire change, we embody transformation. This is where high-performing women come home to themselves, where the masks fall away and the real you steps forward, powerful, radiant, and fully alive. This is Manon, energy alchemist, transformation coach, and best-selling author, guiding women leaders from burnout to purpose. Together we will reconnect with your innate wisdom to clear energetic blocks and activate your eros and life force, awakening the sensual, sovereign self within. For the wild-hearted, for the ones ready to get clear, stop performing and start becoming. This is your invitation to rise and step into your power, purpose, and possibility. Visit alignedenergyhealing.com to book your exploratory call or session today.
Welcome back to Passion of the Soul with me, Ellena Lieberman. My guest tonight is Reverend Wendy Sue Wahl, who's talking about what is my real strength. But before I continue, I want to ask Wendy Sue once again to give her information for our listeners. So Wendy Sue, go ahead and give that one more time.
Thank you. My email is withinview@gmail.com. My website is within-view.com. And my phone number is 859-619-0971.
Thank you so much, Wendy Sue. Now, I want to ask you about your transformation through the Akashic Records. And I just want to point out that we work with the God of everyone's understanding. We may say God, but perhaps you have another name, but that is our openness for all people who want to work in the Akashic Records. So I wanted to say something, Wendy Sue. When you teach, and you talked about this a little bit before, but often when you teach, you say, teaching in the Akashic Records, you say, where do you feel this in your body? Why is that significant? And how are you aligning that person or supporting them when you say, where do you feel this in your body? What does that mean?
Well, by calling someone's attention to their physicality, it really brings them home in a different way to the fact that who we are lives in our body. Our soul's in our body. The records are in our body. You know, we're surrounded in our aura, and we forget about the vastness of what is. So hold on, let me get my word, because I got a picture coming through, and so the picture I just saw was like moving into the physical body. It's like a tunnel, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and then you open up, and then you can go deeper and deeper. And we tend to think of that way as we go out into space, or as we go out into the world, like that's the vastness. But we have so much consciousness and unconsciousness and vividness and imagination and truth and trauma that lives within our physical body, in our cellular mass. And so by asking somebody, where do you feel that in your body, it brings their focus to the internal so that they can then have that piece of information to help them come into alignment with the information that's coming through the records.
Well, that's very important. And I also want to add that in working within the Akashic Records, you will be met where you are. It's not a striving, that it will be within who you are at all times. But I'm interested from the inner, Wendy Sue, as your life developed, how did you gain your inner perspective while you started working in the Akashic Records?
Well, Ellena, you know, in the Akashic Record Consultants International curriculum, level 1 is about opening your own records.
Yes.
And when I first started, I could barely open my own records.
Really?
Because I felt I could do it, but it was little, and I wasn't trusting what I was getting. And because I didn't have any self-value, self-worth, I mean, how could God, Source, love somebody like me? Okay? So when I actually went to level 2 and I was opening other people's records, and I could feel the unconditional love for the masters, teachers, and loved ones, for every person that came before me. Some of them might have known about quantum field, and some of them might have just known how to plant corn. It didn't matter. The records were so present with them, and so loving to them, and so kind to them, and so informative about and honoring of their questions. So it helped me start to open up to my own personal relationship with the Akashic Records, not just as a servant or a service to others, but as a partnership, as a relationship, as my best friend.
Yes. Now, how would you define the Akashic Records today in a modern way from your advanced experience with it?
Well, this doesn't sound very advanced. I would call them a warm blanket.
A warm blanket. Well,
they're the ones I go to when I need to.
Maybe that's why we're all doing it.
For me, they're like my best friends. They're my go-to. They're the ones that us, our co-creation, what we've created in this pillar of light is a safe place for me to look at all of me without judgment.
Yes. And it's the unconditional love that we begin to realize is always there and present with anyone who accesses the Akashic Records and the warm blanket. So let me just ask you one more question. Can you give an example or several examples of the transformation? I mean, you're a terrific example, the transformation experienced by some of your clients.
Yes. First of all, I want to say that this isn't just about like spiritual growth, because I had somebody that was going to sell a house and they wanted to ask a certain amount of money for it, but they didn't think they could get it. And the record said, do this and this and this, which were really minimal. And then they ended up getting over that amount that they wanted to sell for the house. I've helped people move across country. I've helped parents understand how to be in relationship with their child with something that has happened a long time ago, because so many things go into our subconscious that we forget, and the records know everything. Yes. And if the client is willing to ask the question and willing to listen to the answer, or know that this is a seed and the energy's been planted, then other things can come forward. I've also helped 5 or 6 people transition through the records, getting ready for their death, being there with the records open. And then on the other hand, I've also welcomed babies in with the records, and not because we don't open their records, but with the parents and at the birth. And then also in marriages, I've written many, many marriage vows through the records.
Wonderful.
Yes. So
we're going to take a little break right now, Wendy Sue. I mean, this is just wonderful, but we're going to take our break right now. I'm Ellena Lieberman, and you are listening to Passion of the Soul. When we come back, Reverend Wendy Sue will share her creation, Soul Verse presentation. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Ellena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the soul, where your truth comes alive.
If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or in grief, I'm here to help. I'm Fei Lao, intuitive healer and founder of Fei Inspired Healing. Through soul-guided sessions, I help you reconnect with your body's wisdom and inner truth. Whether you're healing from loss, letting go of pain, or rising into elevated energies, my work combines energy clearing, grief support, and spiritual coaching. Schedule a session or learn more at feinspiredhealing.com.
There is more to life than simply surviving or even thriving. There's flourishing. High performance and quantum success coach Beth Larson helps you calibrate and elevate your life. Beth specializes in working with women who want more from their life, more energy, joy, passion, connection, and more meaning. As your coach, she will help you get clear about your life, prioritize what's important, and become a master of your energy. Visit BethLarsonCoaching.com.
You ever feel it? That whisper just beneath the surface? A deeper part of you ready to rise? At Aligned Energy, we don't just inspire change, we embody transformation. This is where high-performing women come home to themselves, where the masks fall away and the real you steps forward, powerful, radiant, and fully alive. This is Manon, energy alchemist, transformation coach, and best-selling author, guiding women leaders from burnout to purpose. Together we will reconnect with your innate wisdom to clear energetic blocks and activate your eros and life force, awakening the sensual, sovereign self within. For the wild-hearted, for the ones ready to get clear, stop performing and start becoming. This is your invitation to rise and step into your power, purpose, and possibility. Visit AlignedEnergyHealing.com to book your exploratory call or session today.
We're back on Passion of the Soul with Ellena Lieberman. I have Wendy Sue Wahl, who is about to share her creation, Soul Verse Presentation, as our guest. And one more time, please share your contact information, Wendy Sue.
Yes. My email is withinview@gmail.com. My website is within-view.com. And then my phone number is 859-619-0971.
So, Wendy Sue, what is the Soul Verse Presentation?
It's a presentation that came through me with the help of the Akashic Records. After I was woken one night and I was given these words, all in one sentence out of a sleep. Allow me to penetrate the truth and attune to the vibration and frequency with my openness, willingness, and truthful seeking. Release the flow of information from all universes, above and below, within and without, seen and unseen. Cradle and embrace my innocence. Reveal the divine design so I may align with the service of my soul and understand the true nature of my journey of light. Allow me to recognize the essence of my divinity, manifest in whatever form it has come to rest in this moment. And allow me to die to myself so I may live in myself.
Wow.
And that was just in one blast in the middle of the night. And as I started to look at those paragraphs and look at how those verses were really helping me, like reveal the divine design. That helps Wendy Sue understand what she's going through in this moment. And then I could go to the records and ask my questions. Allow me to die to my ego so I may live in my larger self. And so in really getting to know that verse that was given to me, I developed a program where we went through and looked at people like, what are your belief systems? But what more importantly, what are your core beliefs? What matters to you? Integrity, honor, kindness. You know, their abundance has so many different words, you know, beauty. And so there's a program that I developed where people can gain their own inner prayer of recognition or their own soul verse. So it helps them maneuver their life. It has it broken down for them to like take parts and pieces of to move them through and into a higher vibration of themselves.
So how did when you first received this, Wendy Sue, in the middle of the night, how did you feel on the inside? How did you know that it was as important as it is? What were your inside, where did you experience it in your body, but what did it feel like in your emotions?
Well, first of all, I was really glad that I had a pen and paper next to my bed. So I do that. I have a pen and paper next to my bed just for these insights or my dreams or whatever. But, you know, I didn't believe it at first, Ellena. It felt like such a blast. It was a turning point for me.
Yes.
Just like when I walked out the door and I said, that is not me.
Yes.
Somehow that all of that space 20 years later, it's like, whoa, this is me.
Yes.
So all of that work that I had done emotionally, my heart felt like this is deep, Wendy. It's important that you take a look at this and give it the time that it needs to take root and to take fruition. And so it's still a process. I'm still working with it. And I had a friend help me with some music to it and the words to it so that I could actually sing it when I need to, because cadence and meters is a part of it. Finding your flow.
I see. Are you going to do that now?
Oh.
Are you not doing it today?
I'll sing you one piece. One piece.
Yes.
Okay. Release the flow of information from all the universes. Release the flow of information from all the universes. Above and below, within and without. Above and below, seen and unseen.
That's terrific. Now, are you doing this as a separate presentation or part of the Akashic Record classes?
No, it's a separate presentation. It's a separate presentation that takes about 5 or 6 hours. It's got music embedded in it, and you don't have to be able to do the records for this.
So you just go all over doing this, or people invite you?
If somebody has a desire, we can set up a class and teach it. And I've taught it on Zoom. I've done it in a large presentation format for people all over the country. And then I also have done it privately.
Are they all singing the melody with you?
No, they get their own soul.
They get their own soul melody.
Do you know like St. Francis had his? St. Francis, you know what? Lord, make me an instrument of your peace.
Yeah,
Where there is hatred, let me sow love. So even Willy Wonka had one. So when I started doing the research, and St. Francis is in this behind me, let me sow love, let me sow peace, let me be a vibrant agent of compassion, words to that impact. Let me walk on the earth with beauty. Those are the things that come forward in order to help somebody shift into the deeper places within themselves.
Yes, to shift into it, and to shift into it with love, with compassion.
Absolutely.
So they understand their depth and how it can transform them throughout their whole personality. So we're going to take a little break now again, Wendy Sue. But one more time, if you'll please give the listeners your contact information.
Okay. My email is withinview@gmail.com, and my website is within-view.com, and my phone number is 859-619-0971.
And this is Ellena Lieberman with Passion of the Soul. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Wendy Sue will discuss her healing, Usui and Karuna Reiki healing. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Ellena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the Soul, where your truth comes alive.
Feeling exhausted as a parent? I would love to help you with a new vision for yourself that is focused on intentional wellness parenting. My name is Orly Cormier, and I have over 40 years experience with complex cancer patients. I offer consultations, coaching, and educational programs for parents who want to boost their health and reduce risk of disease, especially cancer. For more information, go to orlycormier.com.
Are you ready to listen to your soul? Discover the power of pausing and turning in on Our Soul Whisper with Kathy Belmont and Dr. Pat. This sacred show offers a safe space for self-discovery, healing, and soulful transformation. Let your inner voice rise, be heard, and gently guided into expression. Tune in every first and third Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. Subscribe now so you never miss the whisper meant just for you. Visit OurSoulWhisper.com.
Looking for more love, joy, and purpose in your life? Lisa Eve is here to guide you. Through intuitive support, healing, and soulful travel, she empowers you to embrace self-love as the key to happiness. Explore her book, The Love Channel, Finding Your Way to Happiness, available on Amazon. And find daily inspiration at thehappychannel.com. Start living your most radiant, joy-filled life today.
Living a life by design. It's the journey back to you and living 365 days of purpose with host Esther Graham. Tune in every second and fourth Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific. Discover that what is possible is already in you. God designed a phenomenal life for you. At Living a Life by Design, Esther helps you ignite the energy behind your personal journey. For more information, visit fddwomen.com.
Welcome back. I'm Ellena Lieberman with Passion of the Soul with our guest, Wendy Sue Wahl. And now she's going to be talking about a variety of healing techniques, including Usui and Karuna Reiki healings. She's a master and a teacher and has expanded all of her skills that she'll talk about too. So just to let you know, if you'd like to contact me, I'm at www.dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. So Wendy Sue, can you go ahead and describe the two healings, Usui and Karuna Reiki healing that you do?
Yes. Reiki came through Dr. Mikao Usui and was discovered through him and then taught. And then William Rand, that worked more with the physical, emotional, mental, it's universal life force energy as it's described. And then William Rand in the 90s brought through Karuna Reiki, and Karuna is a Sanskrit word for compassionate action. So it has more symbols. Mostly it's going through the classes, and then hold on, I'm feeling in my heart how I want to word these words, because like my hands turn on just thinking about doing Reiki or energy work on somebody. My heart just opens up just feeling the need or the desire to work with somebody else. And so what happens when somebody gets on the table after you've talked to them, you put their hands on their body with permission, of course, and then you let the energy do what it's going to do in its own divine intelligence, along with the divine intelligence of the body. So the energy tells you where to move your hands to allow the person to just relax and relax and release and move to an aligned place. Most of the clients say that they're more peaceful, that it can move pain, it can stop. I have stopped bleeding before in a pretty quick, bruising goes away quicker. And then there's other modalities like body patterning or havening that work with deeper
Yes.
levels of the subconscious and the amygdala. And so, you know, this is coming forward for me to say, when you have severe trauma in your childhood, sexual abuse, battering, violence, touch can be a very scary thing. You don't
Yes.
want people to be near you. And you don't want them in your heart area and space, like love is a different definition. And then you don't want them on your physicality because you don't know what's going to come next.
Yes.
And so these modalities can really help with their gentleness and their tenderness, and they're a way of not pushing in to you.
Yes.
To help heal and let touch, which is something we need,
Yes.
come towards us in a more gentle and fluid and understandable way.
Yes, that's very important. And Wendy Sue, what were some of the healings that you remember that you felt made the deepest impression? I know you've had a lot of clients where you made a wonderful healing impression on them, but perhaps there were some that stand out for you.
I would say that with the records and the Reiki both and the work that I do, some things I see immediately, but you have to have some confidence in the modalities that you're working with, because a lot of times you never hear back about what made a
Yes.
difference. Or maybe 5 years later, someone will say, hey,
Yes.
you remember when you told me this? Or, a year later, somebody will say, hey, I didn't have that pain after you were done.
Yes.
But I do remember very specifically when I very first started, in my naivety and my innocence, somebody had cut their finger at the beach, and I said, oh, let me do Reiki with it. And it stopped bleeding like immediately.
Wow.
And I was so excited that I got to see the proof of something like that,
Yes.
just as a confidence builder that it was working. And now I just know that it works. I just know.
That's
That
wonderful.
whatever the client needs, whether it's records or anything else, that they're going to get what they need and what they're willing to receive. And it's not me that's doing the work. So
Wendy,
I can allow it.
Wendy Sue, how do these healing modalities fit with the work in the Akashic Records? How do they integrate?
Ellena, the one thing, because I had the other modalities, some of them before I came to the records, and the records are so loving and kind, and they're all inclusive. And we have in the records, where's my mind, where's my body, where's my spirit, where are my emotions, and where are my client's body, spirit, and emotions. And so anything that we can utilize, that we have confidence in, that is in alignment with the healing or the openness and expansiveness of our client, the records allow in. And so certainly in my own sensitivity with the energy work, I can say, oh, so I feel something in my stomach, and then I'll ask the records, is that mine or is it theirs? And then they'll say, oh, where do you feel that in your body? So that my body has become attuned not to be taking their energy on, but as an information center.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean, because that also happens for the information coming through. It's like your whole body is responding to the information and to the feeling of it. And then you ask, is it the client's or is this mine? So I think that's wonderful that you're bringing that out for our listeners. So Wendy Sue, do you have any closing words to give our listeners this evening?
Yes, I'd like to say, please don't give up on yourself. Allow yourself the grace and the time and the space to walk your walk. Know that your mind is going to keep taking you back to the same old story. It's going to keep telling you, this is who you are, this is who you are, this is who you are. But close your eyes, put your hand on your heart and your belly, and breathe into that energy under your hands so that you can feel the truth of who you are. And David White has, I'm going to read this because I don't have it memorized, but David White has a poem that I love, and it's called Enough. It says, these few words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, just sitting here. This opening to the life we have refused again and again, until now. Until now.
Very important to share that. Thank you so much, Wendy Sue. And looking at that, I just want to say something a little bit different, but along the lines and complementary to what you're saying. As awareness of the inner creator strengthens in our being, the signposts from the omnipotent flow of life become more illuminated externally. So as we contact all these magnificent areas within ourselves that Wendy Sue is talking about, the external life, everything around you will shift into something beautiful and highly illuminated. Thank you so much, Wendy Sue. This was absolutely terrific this evening. And as we close, just go ahead and review your information for our listeners, please.
Thank you for having me, Ellena. My email is withinview@gmail.com. My website is within-view.com. And my phone number is 859-619-0971.
Thank you so much for your heartfelt presence and giving us all this beautiful information. And I want to thank everyone for tuning into Passion of the Soul. I had a wonderful time with Wendy Sue Wahl. Please join me every first and third Thursday of the month, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And next time, on April 16th, I'll be sharing manifestation secrets from my book, The Principles of Dynamic Manifestation as Received Through the Akashic Records. Thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful week. Thank you for being with us today. I'm your host, Ellena Lieberman. Be sure to tune in every first and third Thursday night at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio for more Passion of the Soul, where we connect with brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries who have walked miraculous journeys. Continue the experience at dynamicmanifestation.com. And if today moved you, share the show and like us on social media so others can awaken their authentic potential too. Until next time, listen deeply, trust your innermost wisdom, and live your passion of the soul.